That moves us down to new business. Citizen of the Quarter, nominations for third quarter 2018. Do I hear any?
The citizen of the quarter, can it be a business
It-
that it's in Indian Trail?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. I would think it would have to be a citizen, because it's a citizen of the quarter. I don't know, Jerry. What would you think on that one?
That would be completely up to you all to vote on to just determine if that was acceptable or not. This is
Really don't
purely
know.
a council decision.
I don't know. What do you have in mind?
Well, we have one entity here in Indian Trail, Common Heart. It does a lot of good things. I've done a little bit of volunteer work with them, but they're doing a hunger walk. They feed the less fortunate, and
Does the person who lead the Common Heart live in Indian Trail?
that I don't know if Keith does or not, or
That'd be a good question, right?
I know that they're right there on Indian Trail Road, and they're in the business park right behind Unionville Indian Trail. So they have two storefronts. But that was one. And
Well, I think maybe we ought to look into that if you want to. I'd have a nomination too, and then maybe for the future, we look into that, or we can, think about it. I really don't have an idea, but I had a nomination for a gentleman named Pete Kimbell. And people in Indian Trail may know Pete as the guy that does the Christmas lights over in Brandon Oaks. That I think this year they had about 10,000 cars that went through there. As a matter of fact, I met him going through and looking at the Christmas lights, and it took us about an hour to get to his. And he had 11. I think he said he had 11 neighbors helping direct traffic. They had bleachers that sat out in somebody's yard to watch his house. Yeah, it was quite amazing. But after talking with him, I found out that he gives every dime of his money. Every dime and they have a bowl out there, and they have people that take money. If you want to donate money to see, it's a fantastic show, goes to the Cancer Society. And he's been doing that for years. And I think, if I remember right, last year he raised maybe $7,000, $10,000, and then the year before that it's been $7,000, $10,000 a year, and every dime of that goes back to the Cancer Society. And it's a full-time job to do what he does, and for all of it to go, I think is a phenomenal thing at what he does. You're going to see and I won't elaborate too much on this, but I have asked him because when we went through it this year, you turn your radio on when you go in there, and and it's really fascinating. Has anybody in here been over there to see it? It's yeah, isn't it nice? It's very nice. But he's wanting to kind of take it out of the neighborhood, because even though his neighbors are very nice about it, could you imagine if it took me an hour to get to his house down those roads, that we were blocking a lot of driveways, and people are just good folks over there. They just flat want to help instead of complain. But pretty soon they're going to start complaining. You can only take. So he's actually going to move it. He wants to move it, and I don't want to elaborate too much on this. He's talked to the farms out there off Poplin Road. And I heard this on the radio because he talked about it before the light show on the recording that he has on there. And he wants to do a Christmas town. What's the farm? I should know it right there. What is it? Wiseacres. He's got with Wiseacres, and they're good people, and they have leased their land out to him for $1 a year, I think, for 20 years. And he wants to build a town out like a movie set town, all around out there with lights and whole 9 yards. But I'm kind of got way ahead of myself. But he wants to do that, and again, give every dime to the Cancer Society, and I've met some of the other people that want to do this. I find it moving, and I find him an extremely genuine person, I guess is the best way to put it. And he's going to come during a council meeting. I asked him to, just like we did tonight at 5:30, and maybe give us 30 minutes. He can lay it out and show you exactly what all he plans to do or would like to do. It's going to be quite expensive, but of course, he's trying to raise the money to do that. But anyway, I would like to nominate him for all he does for the town, and I hope that everybody in the council and everybody in this room gets to know him, because he's quite a good person, quite a genuine person.
What's his name?
Pete Kimbell.
I have one other nomination that's in attendance tonight, and we all know her. I've been reluctant to do this because she's a friend, and I don't want it to have any appearance that it's because of a friendship. But I'd like to nominate Lorraine Evans. And the reason being, Lorraine is involved in quite a few charitable organizations. She supports the Sheriff's Department during Thanksgiving and Christmas, has for many, many years. She's involved with Annie's Kindness Blankets. And I don't want to give you the history on Annie's Kindness Blankets because I wouldn't do it justice. But this is something that's freely given to others. And she's one of our, to steal this from Mr. Bush, she's one of our 1,000 points of light here in Indian Trail, just like the Common Hearts, and sounds like Pete Kimbell. So I just want to put that name in the hat, not necessarily to be chosen at this time, but perhaps at a later date, maybe she would be also a good selection as well.
I have to agree with you. I think she's a good person, and she lives with Gary, so, I mean, and she can do that, so, I mean, that's even more of a strong point to her. But I agree, in contributing to the Sheriff's Department every year, the food that they give, and, man, Jerry, you did have to throw that one out there, and that's a tough decision. Anyway, do I hear any nominations?
I have none. I don't have any, you've nominated one?
Well, I didn't really nominate one, I perceived one. Let me propose this, because I think the world of Lorraine, and I think the world of this guy. Do we want to try to do a one time, or is that impossible?
But this says third quarter. We're in the first quarter of 2019.
Well, that
Why
makes
not
it
just
even
do
easier,
a
doesn't
third
it?
and a
Is
fourth?
this
I mean,
for the
and
third quarter?
Third and
Well,
fourth.
why don't we do one for the third quarter?
And fourth quarter.
How smart is that? Do one for the third quarter,
I'm going to make
one
it
for
even
the
harder
fourth
for you,
quarter.
too.
and we'll cover two. What now?
Jerry's gonna make
I want to make it
harder
even
for you.
harder for you, too.
No, man, Jerry, we
I'm
almost out
sorry.
of the woods.
But, Mr. Falconberry did mention the gentleman's name, and he served this town for many, many years, and he is in the final chapter of his life, Arthur Spur. He has done some good for the town, and so I'd at least like to, recognize him as well and put his name in the hat.
I agree too. I think Arthur Spur is another good one. I'm going to go ahead and for the we want to do for the fourth quarter, and then we'll go back and do the third quarter. I'm going to nominate Pete Kimbell, and if somebody else wants to put up a nomination at that time for it.
Oh, before we go, can we do a call for the third and do one for the fourth?
Sure.
I mean, we're the council, right? I mean, there's no rule against that. We can decide that. I think we have three excellent candidates.
Well, I think you just made a nomination for all three of them.
Yeah.
So all in favor? Raise your hand.
Wait a minute.
It's unanimous.
Except for the third
And
and
we'll
fourth,
do.
We'll decide
Is it
who-
okay
who-
that we do, we'll do two for the third, we'll do Art for the third, and we'll do, and the reason I wanted to get Pete in the fourth is it's around Christmas time, be a good time to put him in there, do Art and
Lorraine,
Lorraine at the same time.
yes.
And all are very very worthy.
So
And don't come up with
congratulations.
another
No,
name.
I was just thinking, in the future, could we not maybe engage the Lions Club and the Rotary to make some suggestions as well?
No.
It's just, some other organizations to bring forth the nominations. Because I definitely don't want to get in any illusion of nepotism so it would be nice.
It's set in stone. No, I think it's good choices. Asking them to also share names if we cannot come up with any is also a good idea.
Well, the one thing about that, Jerry, is, they did that for the, I think for the parades. And then council said, we don't want you doing it for the parades. We want, if I remember right, the
Very
council
martial.
said, we want to do it. We want to choose. So now we're kind of going back and forth on what we do or what we want to do. And I understand it's two different things, but I think, in my opinion, it's the council's decision, not, because you're getting the same thing there. I'm not, you get you got the same thing there with who they want in there opposed to, and are they, who are they choosing, so.
Right. Yeah, and I'm only approaching it from at least them providing the nominations, not necessarily that they're deciding, but it would be nice if, at least for me, that if
Okay.
there was some choices brought forth versus me bringing the choices to you guys.
Well, that's good. You're getting out and meeting the people. That's pretty good.
So we got three to cover the 3/4.
Okay, well.
I think we made a nomination, right?
We already voted on it. Didn't we vote on it? I mean, we
We
did
did.
vote on it. Yeah, we've done it. We're done. We can move on to the town staff recruitment update with Mr. Sadie.